Okay, here's a somewhat slow walk around of the Cobra and its condition. There's a small scratch here in the trunk. Just to give you an idea of how big it is, my hand yet it's maybe an inch and a half long for the scratch. It's right down to the fiberglass in it. No, actually it's a little longer. If we look at it, there's a little bit more that carries on here. This was done when it was at his mother's house. Beyond that, it's the only real big scratch on this car. Everything else is just dust that you'll see on it, because the car's been sitting in my garage now for 7 years. I have not plated it in that time frame. I brought it home and it was going to be a project for my retirement. So I've worked on it a little here and there, just replacing things, working on some of the wiring in it. Again, just dust on it. It's been sitting quite some time. It gets started on a regular basis, so it runs well. Can't guarantee anything about the engine, the driveline, etc., as it was pulled out of a 1988 Ford Mustang or 1987 Ford Mustang GT, one of the two. I think there's paperwork for that in his paperwork, but when he passed away, I kind of inherited all the paperwork for it, and certainly all of what I have will go along with it to the new owner. But for the most part, it's a decent little car. He had a Daytona that he was building, so I will preface that the tires were sized for the Daytona. He originally bought the wheels for the Cobra and then thought he was going to take the wheels off of here, put them on the Daytona, and that make it a roller. I ended up pulling the wheels back off the Daytona, putting them back on the Cobra, but he put some oversized tires on, and so they're bigger than what this car can handle. So when you replace the tires, you'll need to put the right size tire on here. They're right out to the edge of the fender wells on it. So some little things, but since the tires need to be replaced anyhow, they're in terrible condition. They're very weather checked, very old tires. So as you can see, if we get a close up to them, they're pretty well dry rotted and just in overall general bad shape. The rest of the car is not, though. But when he did it, he didn't order the carpet kit for the interior, so that will need to be done. I think 7 meters or 7 yards of carpet will do it. You can buy carpet, good automotive grade carpet, for around $20–25 a yard. So I was going to order some up and just slowly work on it. It does have the nicer steering wheel in it, but the gauge package is out of the Mustang that came with this engine and driveline package, and the odometer on it shows 9,040 miles, 0.4. I believe that to be what was on the driveline when the Mustang GT was wrecked and pulled out of the yard. Roll bars got just some nicks on it and stuff like that just need to be touched up from a paint perspective. It was epoxy coated from Factory 5, but their epoxy coating jobs back. This was kit number 1. It may even be painted. We believe this to be the first customer sold kit, which is nice because this car is dimensionally correct to the original Cobra. This is before they started making modifications for different drive lines in the car. So it is a really much more accurate vehicle from a dimensional perspective. than the later Series 2, 3, and 4s are. A lot of those were modified to fit different drive lines and accommodate different things. This one really wasn't. So it was kind of made to take the small block 302 in it, or 427, depending on which option you ordered. This one was ordered for the small block. So it's got a 302 in it, just a high output fuel injected 302. So that's straight out of the Mustang GT and bolted up in here. I have replaced the radiator. It's got a new radiator in it. It does have new belt, new pulleys, new water pump in the front here. I replaced all of that just because the car had been sitting for quite some time when he came down with ALS. So just a few things, you know, changed in it just to kind of help it out a little bit. As like I say, I was working on it. My plan was to get it running and drive it and enjoy it a little bit during the summers, but I just haven't had time for it. It's been one of those things, like I say, more of a retirement project for me than anything else. And so I hate to part with it because it is his. It does have the wing glass on it. This is an additional option from Factory 5. It does have the wiper kit in it. That is not wired. It is you know, just there. The wires are sitting here for it, and he didn't finish wiring that. So little things that need to be finished in the car. I will start it up and give you guys a video of that. Also, it's cold out here, so it'll be a true cold start. I keep it about 46 degrees in the garage, so not super warm. And so I'll do that, and you guys can see that. To be continued here. I'll pop another video in here or start it up in a little bit. Alright, so as promised, we'll try to get this video up tonight for you, Rusty, and that way you've at least got something to see. So, like I say, everything in here is straight out of the Mustang 5-liter. This will be a cold start on her. She hasn't been run yet today. I'll need to take the battery charger and disconnect it there. Still connected up, but it sits on a battery tender all the time, so battery's in pretty good shape, I would assume, from as old as it is. The only issue you may have is getting to the battery on this thing is a bit of a chore because it's underneath and behind the seats, so you've got to literally jack the vehicle up to get to it, and it's behind there and underneath. That's where they placed them, so they didn't stick them up here in the engine compartment like everybody else does, so it's a little more of a chore there. So let me get this thing set up. I'll put you on a tripod here, and we'll fire her up, and that way you can see what she sounds like and see how easy she starts. So hang tight with me here. Alright, Rusty, in true cold start fashion here, let's undo the battery tender and get her disconnected. Alright. she runs well. Like I say, I don't know a whole lot of background on the engine in it. Like I said, it was purchased by him many, many, many years ago, and it hasn't been driven much, so it is what it is. I can't vouch for anything more than what you see is what you get. But yeah, starts right up, doesn't have any problems from that perspective. Don't know if they're, like I say, I believe the mileage to be correct at 9,004. Well, what was it, 40 miles, I think, 9,040. Everything was transferred over from the Mustang to here, so it's all part of it. Pretty simplistic. The only other thing that I will say he did make one mistake on is he drilled one extra hole here where the hood he thought was supposed to be riveted, but did not go to that. So that's the only other thing that's really noticeable on the car if you're looking around it. But like I say, she's in pretty good condition for being one of the first Cobra kits produced by Factory 5. Not a bad looking car. I was happy to have it here in my collection. I really don't want to see it go. I would rather tinker with it, play with it, keep it. It's all my memories of my best friend. So if I can find a way to keep it, believe me, I will. I'd rather have it here in the collection than not. But it's a good-looking little car. I would imagine it would be a lot of fun to get some miles on her. The few miles that I've been in it were when he was still alive, and he didn't like having other people ride along with him in it. It was his car, just for him. So he never had a seat belt in the passenger seat, which I added. There's a funny story behind that, because nobody knows where that seat belt came from, yet it was inside the car, and Mike never bought one for it. So I don't know how it ended up there as the twin to the driver's seat. I ended up bolting it all in there. It's very much brand new, not been used yet by anybody, but it was kind of funny that showed up with it was sitting in the inside of the car, and Mike never had planned for a passenger to be in this thing, so I rode in it with no seatbelt, which was real entertaining. So that's it. I will publish this for you out on YouTube and give you a chance to take a look at it. I did add the surrounds for the roll bar. Those are new on the car. The roll bar actually wasn't even bolted into the car when he had built it. It was still sitting loose, and that is no longer the case. It's very much a structural part of the car now, all bolted in there properly, done the right way, so it would at least hopefully prevent you from having any issues in a rollover event. But that's her in a nutshell.